Football is more than just a game. It is a passion that unites millions of people around the world. It is a battle, joy and despair, as well as incredible emotions that overflow the hearts of players and fans. In every match, there are hidden stories full of drama and heroism. And today we will dive into the world of football emotions, where every moment is a whole life. Every goal is a dream. So get ready to experience the most exciting and touching moments that we have collected in the third such video. And now, I do not want to take away your time, so I wish each of you a pleasant watching trip. When the goalkeeper of Al-Ittihad team Ahmed Yahia missed 5 goals, the fans started shouting insults in his direction. And then the footballer in the 78th minute of the match took off his gloves and promised his teammates that he would never play football again. It turns out that 2 days before the match, Ahmed's brother died, but he decided not to leave the team and went on the field. But he was unable to cope with the loss. And the negativity from the fans only increased the heartache. The whole team and the coach tried to support Ahmed knowing about this situation and did not blame him for the loss. But unfortunately, it did not help, because the footballer that day forever ended his career and thanked the team for their support. In the match of the Ukrainian Premier League, there was a terrible clash between midfielder and goalkeeper, as a result of which Oleg Gusev was horribly injured. Fans at that moment just froze, because the player, like an inanimate doll, fell to the field. All the players instantly forgot about what they had gathered on the field for, and Jaba Kankova was next to Oleg immediately began to provide first aid to the injured. He pulled out the tongue that had already blocked his breathing. He did it faster than the medical team arrived. The episode ended with a concussion and broken bones of the jaw. But the most important thing in this situation is that the player remained alive after such a terrible clash, because everything could have ended differently. Footballers tend to express their emotions after a mistake, and in one of the episodes, Nicolo Barella unsuccessfully played in the attack, and the ball flew out of the field from his foot. Italian so much upset that with all his strength knocked the ball in the direction of the stands, but the ball hit exactly in the face ball boy. From the unexpected shot to the face, the boy fell, but Nicolo immediately ran up to him, hugged and helped him up, and then already apologized. And anyone will understand that Barella hit the boy by accident. Real Madrid organized a charity meeting of a 3-year-old Lebanese boy with his idol. Haidar Mustafa lost his parents in the terror attacks, and the little boy himself miraculously survived after being injured. The little fan was met by Florentino Perez in the meeting hall at the Santiago Bernabeu, and then he saw Cristiano Ronaldo in person. The boy was so emotional that during the meeting with the idol could not hold back his tears. Social media star of 2018, Ariana dos Santos amazed everyone with her incredible technique for her young age. And when Ariana was 7 years old, she was noticed by the producers of the show American comic and actor Steve Harvey and invited to one of the programs. The girl was a big fan of the Brazilian Neymar, so Steve and his team asked the Brazilian to record a video message for her. The girl did not expect to see her idol, who sends her greetings. Well, in 2019, the girl was invited to one of the training sessions of the Brazilian national team. Neymar personally met a girl who was holding a football ball in her hand. Seeing Neymar live, she again could not contain her emotions. She also hugged every player of the Brazilian national team, which makes this video even more cute.
So I told him that about you, and guess what? Look right there. Look at that TV screen right there.
Oi, Ariana. Tô aqui para te mandar grande beijo, agradecer o carinho que você tem por mim e dizer uma coisa para você. Espero que você acredite no que você quer, que vá em busca dos seus sonhos, que corra atrás e não desista nunca. Porque só você sabe onde você pode chegar, tá? Grande beijo, fica com Deus e dá beijo nessa família. Tchau, tchau.
In the Austrian Championship match, the hero of the match was Wolfsburg defender Luka Lochoshvili. At the very end of the match, Georg Tegel unsuccessfully handled the ball and fell on the field. The guest player tried to run past Tegel, but still hit him on the head with a powerful shot. The attack continued and many people did not notice what happened, but our hero was the first to realize that everything was not all right, and rushed to the player lying on the field. Luka immediately turned his opponent on his side and tried to hold his tongue so that he did not swallow it. Medical staff immediately came to Luka's aid, and only then the Georgian footballer pulled his fingers out of the opponent's mouth. As a result, Tegel was diagnosed with a fracture of the skull and jaw, but fortunately, doctors reported that the injuries are not life-threatening. and after the match on the website was posted a post thanking the Georgian defender. I think each of you remembers that terrible day when Christian Eriksen had a cardiac arrest, right during the last European Championship match. Then, the midfielder collapsed on the field at the end of the first half. The medical team fought for Eriksen's life for about 5 minutes, trying to resuscitate him. At that moment, fans and players were crying and praying for his health, and partners were covering Christian's body from TV cameras. But it was especially scary to watch Eriksen's wife crying. As a result, after a long pause, the footballer was carried off the field in an oxygen mask. A few years later, Eriksen is back with the national team at the European Championship 2024. And in the first match of the group stage, Christian managed to score a goal, thus bringing the team a draw. Just an amazing story about a player who was not afraid and came back to football after such a difficult case. In 2017, Paul Pogba and Zlatan Ibrahimovic met Samuel, an 11-year-old fan of the club who suffers from cerebral palsy. The management of Manchester United allowed the little fan to feel like a full member of the team and to play football in the Manchester Academy, together with the idols in the position of goalkeeper. And as the boy himself says, it was the happiest day of his life, and is especially proud of the present De Gea's game gloves with his personal autograph. During the Australian Cup final match, several seagulls flew onto the field, one of which was hit by the ball. Goalkeeper Dani Vukovic was the first to notice that the seagull needed help, so he helped to carry the bird off the field. After the seagull's injury, the match was briefly suspended. The bird ended up in the hands of one of the coaches, and when it finally recovered, it flew back to its family after a while. During the match between Villarreal and Barcelona, one of the fans threw a banana right on the field. Where was Dani Alves? Unfortunately, this innocent fruit has long been a symbol of racism in the world, but Dani Alves showed the simplest and most effective way to deal with banana racism. The Brazilian did not take offense and did not send curses to the bully, but simply picked up, peeled, and ate the innocent fruit. And later, laughingly added that his father had always told him, "Eat bananas, son. They prevent cramps." In September 2014, midfielder Jonas Gutierrez learned about the terrible diagnosis of testicular cancer. Because of this, footballer had to go through surgery and extensive chemotherapy. But Gutierrez did not give up and heroically defeated the disease, and even managed to return to the field in March. At that time, Newcastle were struggling for survival, and many doubted that they would remain in the English Premier League. But in the last tour, Jonas Gutierrez came on as a substitute, scored the second goal of his team against West Ham, and finally saving them from relegation to the Championship. And you just look at how Gutierrez emotionally celebrated the scored goal. At that moment, the whole stadium just burst with happiness. If you are not very well versed in football and do not know the biography of Messi, then perhaps you do not know the fact that at the age of 11 he was diagnosed with growth hormone deficiency. Perhaps the world would not have known about the existence of Lionel if not for Barcelona, because it is thanks to the leadership of the Catalan club, Messi not only moved to one of the best clubs in the world, but also received the necessary treatment, which was paid by Barcelona. Messi himself thanked the club in full, becoming a true legend and the best scorer of Barcelona. So the Argentine understands what is a deficiency of growth hormone and therefore seeks to help people with this disease. And in 2012, the forward heard about a 12-year-old Moroccan named Walid Kashash, who was diagnosed with the disease. The disease was an obstacle to the realization of the boy's dream of becoming a professional footballer, and the mother of the boy in a letter wrote about it to Messi. The Argentine did not stand aside and offered his help in paying for the treatment of the boy until he reaches the age of 18. Before the return semi-final of the Champions League against Liverpool, Chelsea midfielder Frank Lampard was not in the best psychological state, because before the match the player funeraled his mother, who died of cancer. Nevertheless, despite this, he found the strength to go on the field in such an important match. The game ended with a score of 1-1 and went into extra time, and even then, Michael Ballack earned for his team a penalty, which was taken to perform Lampard. The Englishman without problems overplayed the goalkeeper and emotionally dedicated the goal to his mother. He took off his mourning bandage and kissed her, and then almost cried. That night was doubly special for Frank, because it was then that his team reached the Champions League final for the first time in history. A similar incident happened with Spartak forward Alexander Sobolev. Celebrating a goal, Alexander took off his playing uniform, and under it was a t-shirt with a photo of his mother, who died a few days before the match. The forward put the shirt to his face and cried, and then pointed his finger to the sky. Another Chelsea player, Willian, suffered the same loss when his team played at home against Leicester City. The Brazilian himself was attending a funeral in his home country, but his teammates supported Willian. Londoners defeated the opponent with a score of 3-0, and the authors of the first two goals, Diego Costa and Eden Hazard, during the celebration of their goals, portrayed the number 22 under which the Brazilian played. The son of Argentine coach Diego Simeone, Giovanni tattooed the Champions League logo at the age of 13, making one important promise. "I was 13 when I got my first tattoo. Of course, my father didn't want me to do it. And my mother asked why. I replied that one day I would play in this tournament and score a goal. Then I would kiss the tattoo." And Giovanni had to wait until he was 27. In the 41st minute, Simeone came on as a substitute after an injury to a Napoli player, and 2 minutes later, he scored the third goal against Liverpool. Giovanni remembered his promise, and first of all, he kissed his wrist, and then he collapsed on the field with tears in his eyes. It was clear from the player's reaction how important it was for him, and this episode once again showed that one should never give up on the way to his dreams. In conclusion, I would like to talk about the touching end of the career of the legendary Francesco Totti in the spring of 2017. Perhaps it was one of the most emotional moments of recent years. The Italian spent his entire career in Roma, 307 goals in 785 matches, with a full reflection of the place Totti held in the history of the Roman club. At his last match, the Stadio Olimpico was filled to 100%, and the fans could not look at what was happening without tears. In his farewell speech, Totti said, "I am proud to have committed 28 years of love to Roma," and then, to a standing ovation and tears from the fans, he left for the stands. Unfortunately, every player's football career is coming to an end, and as much as we don't want it to be a part of the game, football has many components, each of which evokes completely different emotions, which is why we like this sport. What other touching moments in football can you remember? Share your variants in the comments. I will gladly read and add them to the next part. And this is our long-awaited third part of emotional moments in football comes to an end. We really hope that you liked our compilation and you will appreciate our efforts by liking and subscribing to the channel. But most importantly, love football. Take care of yourself and your loved ones.